got a special guest today. This guy has come from New Zealand. He's been everywhere, my man. Norris, what is good, my brother?
Very good, very good.
You all right?
Busy all the time.
Busy all the time?
Yeah, trying to juggle multiple jobs and people and life and
Man, you're like
everything.
bro. I got a lot of love, got a lot of respect for you, my bro. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Huh?
Yep. It feels like it's been 10 years.
It has been, man. It feels like it's been 10 years, bro. Bro, tell us, what do you do? What do you do for work? What do you? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for work-wise, I'm currently a sales manager for an IT company.
Oh, well done.
We're
Cool.
a reseller in the Australian Oceania market.
Okay.
But also I am a broker or
Right.
wealth
Yeah,
manager.
Yep.
And I'm an investor,
Man,
obviously.
I sell
with
DVDs as
flight
well.
stuff.
And
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking
whatever,
for
anything.
I'm looking for another business.
No,
right
no, I
now
love
to
it.
get my
No.
hand
Look,
skills into, so.
it's fantastic. Like, you've got such an interesting story, and that's the reason why I want to get you here. I know we've collaborated on a lot of stuff: the finance, the property, weird financing, weird property transactions, etc. That's the reason why I wanted you to be here today. Your background. What's your background?
Chaldean. So
Chaldean,
Chaldean
okay.
Iraqi.
Chaldean.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a kind of a offset from the Assyrian Empire.
Okay.
Goes back 8,000 years plus. Left Iraq in 1980.
Sure.
I was a refugee in Athens for about 4.5, 5 years. And those are good times when Athens was quite welcoming, and you can have souvlaki for 50 cents and have a good time. Get attacked by dogs in the street. That was
You get attacked by dogs right now, my bro.
get attacked by dogs.
So you went Athens and then where'd you
to New Zealand? So I've
Okay.
been in New Zealand for about 40 years.
Wow.
38 years.
Amazing.
Roughly. Did all sorts of jobs there. Worked with my dad. Ran kebab shops. Worked in window cleaning. Ran my own businesses over there. Got into security and finance for about 10 years in banking. And then got into IT the last 15.
Where did your mindset go from I'm in NZ, I want to come to AU? Like how did that transition kind of go into?
Like, I think most Kiwis come and go to Australia. We're kind of like, it's so close, you may as well. It's cheaper to come to Australia than it is to travel around New Zealand. And the same goes in Australia. It's cheaper to travel outside of Australia than travel inside of Australia. So I've been coming here since 1989.
Wow.
Back and forth with my parents, by myself, probably 100 times.
Wow.
Coming and going over the last 40 years.
It's how do you think your culture kind of shaped money? So the reason why I always ask about where you're from, I ask because different cultures, influence different ways,
Yeah.
and I think it's so interesting. So how did kind of your culture influence you about money and this willingness to just do whatever it needs to do to get it?
I think as immigrants, we've got more to prove. And we're happy to hustle. I mean, I could quit today and work in a kebab shop, be an Uber driver, do window cleaning, whatever. It doesn't actually matter. But it's actually the determination of immigrants to work twice as hard because we've got twice as much to prove. I think the migration patterns of now are a little bit different. I think because of the social construct of finance, a lot of governments are willing to give migrants money for nothing, whereas my generation grew up with nothing. There was no government handouts. So we had to do whatever was needed to do the work. So my dad was a university lecturer, worked in a milk factory in New Zealand, worked as a window cleaner, photographer.
It's so crazy. My dad, God rest his soul, he passed away in November.
Yep.
Same thing, right? Like he came here to Australia with a couple of cents,
Yep.
and I said to him, why'd you come to Australia? And he's just like, to work. And he did everything every minute of every hour. Probably a lot of dads out there that has kind of done the same. So you've made a really big impact here in property. Remember the reason why you're here.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the podcasts that we talk about, a lot of the people here, we talk property very, very deep. Now you've amassed in a very, very short time. And again, through some crazy finance, a lot of moving parts. You've amassed a couple of $1 million worth of property in a very short time. You've been in Australia, right? I think it's so interesting, especially coming from NZ, coming here. Obviously, stroke like us, kind of collaborating together on both the property side and the finance side. Why property, man? Because again, your portfolio is very interesting. What do you think? $5-6 million?
Yep.
Close towards that. Tell me about that. Like, you went, I want to go property. Like, how did that kind of go into?
Well, I've been buying and selling property in New Zealand since I was 19.
Sure. Okay. It's in your bloodline then.
So it's part of blood, you know, because property means that you've got some asset that hopefully over time grows, but also when you retire, and if you ever retire, you've got something that generates passive income in the future. So I've made a lot of mistakes in property. I used to sell anytime the market changed. I've learned from that now. Regardless of what the market is doing, continue to buy.
Sure.
If you can continue to buy and service it, keep buying. Because the reality is even if the market goes down by 10%, the market will go up by 30% the year after.
Yeah. If not, it's already grown by 30%. You've dropped by 10. It's like you're still net 20.
Exactly. So, you know, and if you look at, if your direction is to have a passive income in 20 years' time, so my goal is to be able to substitute my income in 10, 15, 20 years for passive income from rental.
Of course.
So, and the key is look, I generally will buy new or near new property for, you know, because when I look in the New Zealand market, the reason why I left is the government was turning into a socialist state that wasn't supporting investors.
Interesting.
And so Australia is still very much supportive of investors because they understand as population growth, you need investors to be buying property to continue to supply, you know, demand.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're just going to end up with New Zealand where people are sleeping in cars, government is putting them in hotels. So many problems because they just took away depreciation, negative gearing, all that.
Which is what the conversation of government's having now.
That's the government will have it. I don't think Australia will change towards it.
Let's hope not, because you're right. I think investors do play a lot of they play a very important role in the financial circle.
Yep. And Australians will probably follow the American market rather than turn towards the New Zealand. So they're more closely aligned to the US, where all those things exist and the government doesn't touch it. Whereas the New Zealand market has changed. They're trying to bring it back now with the new national government. And I do know the new Prime Minister over in New Zealand. We were neighbours, so that was quite good. But it's going to take him 5-6 years to change that perception of investment in New Zealand.
I'm seeing a lot of inquiries, a lot of moving parts, actually. As you know, we've got the buyer's agency, the advisory, as well as the finance, both separate businesses. But why are, and this is just so curious, why are in New Zealand, Kiwis, New Zealand's lol, why are Kiwis now looking for AU to park their money?
It's because of the way the policy is set in Australia. So Australia encourages investment. New Zealand doesn't. Australian economy is stronger than New Zealand economy, so the job market is much better. Australia has changed its rules around citizenship. So it's gone from 10 years to 4 years. And they are purposely targeting doctors, nurses, skilled labourers, lawyers from New Zealand and pay them 20-30% higher than what they would be paid in New Zealand. The weather's obviously better as well.
Of course. Look at your tent, my man. Yeah, sweet. That's interesting. Now I want to talk about your portfolio, right? I want to talk about some of the properties. I won't go deep into the others, but there's a couple there that is more different than the norm, right? You've recently acquired a co-living property in Perth. Can you? I know what co-living is, but why don't you tell the listeners what co-living properties are?
So co-living is a kind of like a mini. How would I explain it? It's like a mini hotel motel for long-term residents.
Boarding house.
Boarding house.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's it was actually sold to me. I didn't know anything about it a year and a half ago. Bought it off the plans in Perth. Took the risk, to be honest. I think I paid about 640,000. 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 5 kitchens, plus shared space as well, so lounge. Single story, quite a large house. I think about 250 square meters roughly.
Sure.
But the idea is that a lot of single or couples need a place to stay. So Perth market, as it was explained, is that there isn't as much housing supply. So having a co-living that you can rent, so rental market in Perth is insane. And you can rent out these 1-bedroom, almost standalone units for about $350, $400 each. So times that by 5, it's $2,000 a week in return. And once you take away all expenses and everything, you're netting about $1,000 a week in your pocket. So.
And it's pretty crazy, right? Because a lot of people that kind of go through co-living, it's actually not residential when it comes to lending.
No,
it's looked at commercial, which is you need a commercial valuation.
Yep.
And effectively, yes, it's residential, but it's really commercial.
And the banks apply different lending criteria as well. So you've got to pay at risk insurance if you don't have 70%. So you can only borrow up to 70%, and then they charge you a fee.
A risk
I didn't know about.
Of course.
So there's all these pitfalls and I guess information that was missed when I was trying to buy it. But now
that's because we didn't talk then. That's we didn't talk back then, but that's okay. That's okay. All good. Okay, cool. And then you've also you've got 2 apartments. Pretty interesting. You've dabbled in local markets. Austral, Leppington. You've literally bought a couple of other properties as well. Normal residential securities. Nationally, interstate. And you've also dabbled into Bali, which is pretty interesting actually, because again, it's so crazy. We're actually getting a lot of people retiring in Bali.
Yep.
Before it was retiring in Brisbane or Queensland or Gold Coast, but prices there are crazy. So Bali, huh? How did you find out about Bali?
Well, it was actually through the developer that sold me Perth.
Interesting.
So obviously I joined finance. And then, I was trying to, I guess, build a relationship with him to sell properties in Melbourne and Brisbane and Perth. So use us for finance. And he basically said, well, would you guys do finance in Bali? And I didn't even know. I've never been to Bali. Never seen it. I've been to Indonesia, but not Bali.
Sure. Indonesia mainland, you mean?
Mainland, yeah. So it was interesting. I looked at the prospectus and it was kind of like 15% return. Obviously, with the Bali properties, you don't own the land, but you own the apartment. And you can also live in them.
Like a leasehold.
If you want to. It was a leasehold.
Yeah.
But the returns are fantastic. The appreciation of the properties, the second you buy them, they start appreciating. The closer they come to finishing, they actually go up in price. And I think a lot of the attraction with the retarees is that they can go there, have a holiday for free, 1 month, 3 months, whatever they want. They could spend the winter in Bali, and come back to Australia in the summer.
Crazy.
So it's very interesting. There's a lot of people buying up.
No. You're right. We've seen a lot of people acquire in Bali. Again, boomers, right? Seeing a lot of them. And again, people are kind of retiring over there and just kind of enjoying a hectic lifestyle. I think it's fantastic. But you work with a lot of people, a lot of ways of life. And I do want to understand one thing, because you've amassed such a diverse, and I think a great portfolio. When you hear about your coworkers or your friends who are on, let's say, bigger incomes, who hasn't kind of dived into property or have acquired really anything, they kind of got nothing to show for it. Like, what's usually the conversation that you have with them?
I guess I'd reflect and I say, what do you do? What are you doing for finance? Are you looking at property? So I lead them down that
Sure.
path anyway. I guess a lot of people in that space that if they're afraid of what's out there, they don't understand that you can actually expand not just in your local area, but you can expand, interstate, you can expand into Bali, you can buy properties. So I think a lot of it's awareness, and there's no one actually giving them advice.
Very true.
Same concept applies for Kiwis that come here. Honestly, there's nowhere to go where there's some type of like knowledge base for Kiwis. And they land here, they've got a job, they've got money, they've cashed up from New Zealand, sold a property, cashed it up, come here, and then they start making mistakes. But there's no guide around how to get a driver's license, how to get a tax file number, how to open a bank account. It's completely different from how New Zealand works. New Zealand doesn't have the 100-point system and all that stuff that exists here. So understanding how tax works here
Of course.
is missed.
And then some of the Kiwis that's moving over here some decent money.
Yep, absolutely.
We've seen it. Again, we've helped structured a lot of Kiwis lending and helped them acquire and buy properties. But look, I agree with you.
There's no database. There's nothing out there that says, "Hey, welcome to Australia. If you need finance, this is how to do it." Or if you,
and then usually they'll know from a friend and then that friend has relied on someone from the street and said, "Yeah, cool. This is factual information," but really, it's like, not really, bro. Yeah.
And I think the opportunity would be when they sell in New Zealand, and if the conversation is, "I'm moving to Australia," then there's some type of pamphlet, some type of app that they can go onto and do something. I think we're doing that at some point in the future.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. We're collaborating on something with our NZ with our Kiwi brothers and sisters. When you first kind of bought a couple of your properties, did people think you were crazy?
It was a race.
Okay.
Because the market was moving so fast, I needed to get finance quickly.
Sure.
I think Aussies understand property a lot better than a lot of Kiwis do. The Sydney market is red hot all the time. Regardless of what's happening on a global scale, when you look at Australia in terms of places that you can still afford and be safe and raise family, have education, have good health system, good roading to a certain degree, all those things, when you add them up on a global scale, there's only about 3 or 4 places in the world that you'll get all those things at the same time. So from an investment perspective, Australia on a global scale is probably number 1, number 2.
I mean, it's been a safe haven for a lot of countries, right? COVID happened. Australia has inspired global to leave your money and park your money here, and we've seen that multiple times.
Yeah.
Which is insane. There's sometimes your Kiwi friends reach out and go, "Hey man, you've really killed it in AU."
Yep. And I'll start referring them. So my goal is to get them in the same journey faster than I could get there. There's no real benefit to me apart from watching other people succeed. So
I love that.
Because that for me, it feeds me and encourages me to do more.
I love it.
But, I think if I can tell people all the problems and pitfalls that you face, then they don't have to go through the same challenges I did.
Interesting. No, I love it. Look, I think, again, the experience that you've had, the growth that you've had, the moving parts, the risks that you've taken with all the shit that you've gone through, all the cultural movements and financial movements, and you've made money, you've lost money, you've made money again, and now you're kind of sitting pretty healthy at a very good portfolio. I think you're killing it, my man, and we appreciate that you're here.
Thanks.
And I do want to wrap this up with some rapid questions. The rapid question round.
Let's go.
This ends up being a supposed to be rapid, but it ends up being a long fucking questionnaire. Anyways, is there a purchase you made you wish you could take back?
No.
No. Why not? Elaborate.
Don't have regrets.
I love it.
So
well done.
Yeah, just keep going.
Cool. If everything tomorrow was gone, how would you rebuild your life?
I'd probably start working in construction. I'll go dig holes. I'll go plant trees. Do whatever.
I love that you're not picky. It's very rare that we come across people that just goes, I'll do whatever.
Yep.
Like if I've got to clean toilets, I'll clean toilets. My mum and my dad clean toilets.
I've cleaned toilets in hotels.
100% I have too. I remember as a kid, I was here. We migrated here from the Philippines when I was 5.
Yep.
When I came here, we used to clean pubs, right? And I think I was 6 or 7, helping my parents already, clean cigarette butts from carpet. So
there's no shame in work.
There's no shame in that. There's no shame in work. There's no shame in getting it. And you're very right.
The only shame I think would be not working.
Hey, there you go.
If you're physically, mentally capable,
do it.
Just do it. In fact, if you're not mentally capable, do it. Because it'll straighten you up as well.
Love it. If you weren't doing what you're doing, then what would you do? I think you've already answered that. Whatever. Yeah.
I'm not fussed.
Cool. What's one thing you won't stop buying, good or bad?
Property. I think I'll probably stop buying when I'm probably about 55.
Right.
I think that'll be the limit. And then you settle and you
But you could still buy property at 55.
I know.
Lending wise,
I'm fine. But, I think, like set things up for kids.
Sure.
And, obviously I don't want to leave debt when I leave this
Makes
earth.
sense. Yeah.
I want to be in a position where there's no debt, everything's paid off, and I hand stuff over.
And you've done a couple of strategies, which is pretty good. Some stuff that we've kind of implemented with, some of your foreign income coming in, kind of putting aside offsets, paying down those debts to kind of accelerate, those debt repayments. Something, that we're working through, which I think is pretty cool. And what's something money can never fix for you?
Time cannot be bought.
Sure.
So decisions that you want to make tomorrow, make them today, and don't look back. Just go.
Love it. Norris, this was inspiring. This was amazing. We got to do this again because in 6 months' time, I know you probably said, "Hey, lucky, I want 5 or 6 more." And for the viewers that's listening or watching, if you're 55 or over, you can still get a 30-year term under investment. So there's a way that we can do it. If you need to talk, we'll chat. But
don't forget SMSF.
And SMSF. That's a whole
I can't wait.
That's the whole new topic. Kiwis as well, same thing too. They've been moving a lot of their
about it. Yeah,
they've been moving a lot of super. It's so
you can't use it though. That's the only problem.
Okay.
So once you move your super over here, you can't touch it until you're 65.
Interesting.
So you can't, for some reason, New Zealand has some kind of thing that even though you've moved it to Australia, it's still tied to the rules of New Zealand.
Interesting.
So
I
don't know. Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's not. But that's what I was told.
Maybe we should just find someone who knows the answer. We'll find out and we'll interview. But Norris, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate you. I've got love for you, man. And we'll just keep smashing this up, keep kicking goals.
Awesome.
Take care.
Cheers.
All right, my bro.
Cheers, mate.
Yes, sir.